search, or it's
just type NRCS Illinois in Google, and our web page will pop up. There'll be several web pages,
and
they will tell you about each one of these programs. You can read about them. It'll break the acronyms down for you and give you a brief description. We actually have some handouts in the back.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them for anybody that wants it.
They have fact sheets. It's fact sheets about the EQIP program and the CSP program. So it kind of gives you a nutshell of what we talk about.
Also, in this program, we will have someone come out to your land and look over your land and help you with some suggestions on some things, especially placing your fields and labeling your fields and stuff like that. So we will get a little help with that in this program.
Is there any more questions?
So, for example, if I want to lease some land, you know, this place in the county, at least a piece of your land, so you might be earning $1 million. So, would that disqualify the owner of the property? So,
No. It's whoever's applying. So if that landowner is a millionaire, it won't matter because you're the one that's applying for assistance.
So the operator is going to get the $1 million off what he's leasing. So is the owner there?
It's whoever's applying. So if you come in and apply for this program and you make $1 million, you don't qualify to receive financial assistance. So that's what it's tied to. It's the program applicant. It doesn't matter who owns it or anything like that.
okay, thanks.
So that means that you have to provide income tax returns.
It's self-certified. It's a form that you fill out when you get the farm numbers from Farm Service Agency. It's just basically checking boxes whether you're self-certified. But, I mean, I guess at any point they can do an audit and check to see if he's lying or not. Well, I guess actually that form is basically giving Farm Service Agency permission to query IRS to find out whether you make $1 million. So I mean, it's all done without us having to take any steps. It's just.
And it's a harmless process. The FSA, getting your farm service number is a very harmless process. It's just real. You just turn it in. I mean, it's like 20 minutes. You go in there, fill out the information, or you can fill out the information at home, bring it in, and then they'll get back in touch with you with your number. It's just that easy.
And how long after you receive that number can you apply after you've worked your land?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as you have a farm record at Farm Service Agency, then I can start putting things into my computer program. I mean, we can start planning at any time, but in order to do the financial part of it, you've got to have all those other ducks in a row.
Can you go back to that last? I spelled your name wrong.
This program is the CRP program. This is called the Conservation Reserve Program. And basically, this program is taking farmland out of production. So if you want to take some farmland out of production, or land that is you're not really producing anything on, or the land is not really good, this is a good program to put into the Conservation Reserve Program. You can come into your, actually this program is really ran through FSA, Farm Service Agency, but our agency actually comes out and makes the technical determinations. So basically we do all the field work and FSA does all the contracting, paperwork and everything. Exactly.
So what happens to the land if they're taking it out of?
Basically, we give, there are certain practices. So let's say, which I'm going to get into, keep getting to a little bit.
Okay.
And it's really based upon the soil types. If you don't have good soil in a particular area, of course you're not going to be able to grow good crops. So this something you might want to look into. Let's say if you got a gully in your field, we all know that gullies wash away or take away our soil. So what we do is we come out and construct and design a waterway, a grass waterway. Basically, a grass waterway holds the soil together. I have some pictures here today. We have one in the equal presentation earlier, but basically the grass waterway kind of holds the soil together and keeps the soil from washing away because we need our soil to grow crops. We also do field borders. Field borders is basically grasses along a field, really for wildlife. If you're interested in wildlife, that's a good thing to have. The next one is shallow water areas for wildlife. Basically, if you got some crop fields or something, you might have water that's staying in the water that never goes away. That's a good practice to do in this particular program. And we also do wetland restorations.
What's a wetland restoration?
Basically, it's a wetland that's pretty much dried up.
It's been impacted negatively. We have to store it out in previous condition.
Yeah, we don't keep it wet with water, plants, things like that.
And then when you get involved with this program,
And we
you have
actually,
to stop producing in that area. Okay.
and we actually pay you, since you're taking that land out of production, this particular program pays for that land being out of production. So you get a yearly payment for bringing that land out of production. Rental rate. So basically, you can look and see what you're making off that land as far as crops and production that you sell to the farmers market, whatever. And you can kind of look at that payment versus what CRP is going to pay you to see if it's worth taking out of production. But if you're an environmental person and you like wildlife, and you just want to get wildlife on your land or property, this is a good program.
So water line is started, I can change water. I'm trying to ask, you have a wetland, you can change the wetland? I thought it was really documented, place on the map,
Now, if it's a certified wetland, you can't crop
you
it.
can't change.
You can't tile it or anything.
You can crop it. You can farm it all you want, but you can't drain it. You can't make a wetland not a wetland anymore. They changed that law in 1985. So if it's a wetland and you want to farm it, you can farm it, but it's at your own risk. You might lose your crop that year if it gets too wet or something. But you're not allowed to put in one of those tiles and drain it, or dig a ditch and drain it right or anything like that. That would make you ineligible for anything USDA.
And also, if you think you have a wetland, or pretty much, if you think on your property, if you got water that's always there, and there's a lot of vegetation and trees, that might be considered a wetland. So what you can do is call us out, and we'll make an official determination to see if that's a wetland or not. So then, if it's a wetland, we have a program called WRP, where you can put that into a easement. Basically, we'll just give you one big sum to leave that as a wetland, or keep it in a wetland format.
You only want payment over life of
I think this is just one.
WRP is like they're basically temporarily purchasing your land. I don't know if they do permanent ones.
Yeah, I think they do 30,
It's like 15, 30, and 30, I don't know what it is.
it's like 15, 30
Years.
But there are some programs where you can do permanent.
Okay, but they give you one check, 15 years.
Yeah.
I think there's a program through the state where you can do permanent.
You're gonna get
It's
that
called
down.
a program called FRIP.
Okay, good. But you have to vary the county. So you have a lot of
Yeah.
Each county pays a different rate.
not a base rate, the base rates on some practice. So give an example of practice, the base rate.
All of those.
Baseball farm.
$124 an acre Yeah, I think I might have that in this product. Like, let's say if you want to put a filter strip. A filter strip is basically a grass area along a ditch. Okay, when the farmer sprays his crops or whatever, you don't want the chemicals to get into the water system. So basically, the filter strip is grass that filters the chemicals from before it gets into the water system. I think that pays maybe $120 an acre. It depends.
So I mean, per year or 15 years.
And that's just something, that's just what practice to do,
Okay.
just because you want to protect the water system. The width of the filtering strip is based upon the slope of the land. Some filter strips might be 30 feet wide, some might be 100 feet wide. It all depends upon the width of the land. And also what you want to do. So I'm going to depend on how much land you want to take out of the picture. I mean, it's a good practice to do just because we want to protect our water supply. Certain practices receive an extra 20% of the payment. And some of those are filter strips that I was talking about because we're protecting our water supply. That's what we're repairing buffers. Repairing buffers are basically like a filter strip. Instead of planting grass, we're planting trees. Right here it says the average rental rate for these are about $175 an acre.
Yeah.
It's not bad. And the reason the payment is so high, you gotta think about you take the land out of production. So,
How wide is the strip?
it's based upon the slope of the
You
land.
said on the slope.
Minimum of 30. Can't go any less than 30 feet.
Okay, no less than 30 feet.
So the CRP, is this also based on, you saying 15, 30, and,
Just
so you have to keep it out of production? for
at least
15.
10 or 15 years.
CRP is 10 or 15. WRP
Oh,
is the one that's extended.
okay.
Told you to throw acronyms at you all day.
As long as you tell me what they are.
Yeah.
Can I ask, how many people in here live near, or their farms are next to conventional farms where they know there'll be a lot of either farm runoffs or pesticide usage, heavy pesticide? Okay, so we have about, back there as well, did you?
Well, I have some property.
Okay, yeah, that may be in production, so some of these practices may definitely be beneficial for you.
Some different practices that are here in Floyd County that are also in this county also is filtering strips, repairing buffers, wetland restorations, grass waterways, field windbreaks, field water strips. So those are particular practices that we have.
Repairing buffer, is that a tree strip between, like, conventional farm and organic farm?
Between your farm and water.
Okay,
A ditch, creek, it's pond, anything.
a tree line.
Yeah, it's buffering the water, the runoff on that before it enters into your surface water. But there's other things that there's other practices you'll go over that would be able to space you away from conventional, if that's what your goal is.
Yeah, what would be the best way to do that?
There's field borders, there's windbreaks. Those would probably be the two easiest because those there's no restriction on the location. Like a riparian buffer has to be right next to water, or a filter strip also has to be right next to a water source. But field border is just anywhere on the outside of your farm that you can make it as wide as you want. And there's different options for species that you can plant. So I know that we did one on Jahari's farm that we planted. It's a field border, but it's going to be loaded with pollinator species. So she's going to be able to get the pollinator insects and wildlife there to help out with the rest of it.
So is the field border a perennial or something that would keep going? Or?
Yeah. You're gonna plant it, and you might manage it over the course with some, if you can burn, or if you want to lightly disc it, or interseed with views to help. I don't know, 5 years down the road, we suggest
filter strips. This is pretty much established along perennial or seasonal water sources. We receive a base run rate, 20% incentive, which is 20% more for this particular practice. Of course, NRCS, the Soil and Water District, comes out and does the determination. We let you know how wide the field order needs to be. Excuse me, field streets. The typical widths in Iroquois County, the county I work in, they're normally 80 to 120 feet wide. And that's based upon the slope. So you can establish cool season grasses, legumes, such as palm or alfalfa, native prairie grass, switchgrass. A lot of filter strips in Iroquois County, they normally do palm or alfalfa. Of course, there's I think about 5 or 6 different mixes you can get. So pretty much everyone does the same species. This right here is $100 an acre. This is black. I think this PowerPoint is maybe about 8 years old, so that paper probably has went up. And we did. So we probably can more. This right here is an example of the filter strip. You see the grass. On the other side of the trees, there is some type of stream or some type of water source there.
So did y'all put the trees there and the grass there, or just the grass?
Just the grass. Of course, it's taller during the summertime.
Trees not part of the filter strip.
Not this one.
Yes, correct.
This is another example of the filter strip.
That's a high elevation, something like that.
Yes.
So the field is on the right.
No, the field. But it's
Stream.
Oh,
So that's all you need to keep, pesticides out of the water?
Well, it helps prevent. It don't 100% do it, but it helps.
So it's supposed to have about a 10-foot roller between the conventional guy and the organic person. Is that sufficient, or you have to see what your soil is? Or, I mean, is that generally
It's really based upon the slope. It's based upon the slope. Just think about if you got a hill like this, the water's going to run faster. So if the water's running fast, you're really going to need a wider, strip to catch it.
suppose there's no water, it's just you got a conventional guy on one side and an organic person on the other side, there's a road or something. Is that sufficient to keep the pesticides out, or do you have to have a windbreak,
I would probably do a windbreak if there's no ditch between the two.
if there was no ditch?
If there's no ditch, I'll probably do a windbreak. And they would stop their chemicals so we don't want to get crops. That's another example of a filter strip right there. Oh, no, that's a field work. That's a field work.
instead of using the land to put it.
What did you say?
That's more of a field order right there,
Oh.
this particular.
Field water's like a filter strip, it's just it's a white strip of grass, but it's just around the border of your field regardless of whether there's a ditch or anything there. It's basically providing wildlife habitat, it'll separate you from your neighbor, that kind of thing.
And also you have to have a certain amount of footage between your livestock and your growing field too. And that's part of organic standards. So you need about a 30-foot strip.
30 foot is our minimum,
Yeah,
so it
30
has to
foot
be 30
minimum.
feet.
So for, if you're gonna raise any livestock near your specialty crops.
Next one is repairing buffer, basically just a tree plant. It can be along a drainage ditch, usually in bottomland or around major creeks or rivers. Width determination is minimum width on small, usually about 50 feet is the minimum for the repairing buffers.
So that's
tree practices are 15 years. So you would be agreeing, signing a contract that those trees are going to be there for 15 years.
Can we harvest?
Oh, food from them, yeah. So you meant wood from you can't cut the trees from property.
But we get the fruit.
So you can plant walnuts?
Well,
on it?
I'm not sure. That,
It's probably
The
the
forest
trees that we have.
yeah.
Are any of them fruit trees?
Check
Or nut trees?
Of
Or,
course, I think that would.
there's a question.
Sell that property, Zach. Years go along the property.
If you sell the property, the new buyer can agree to take over that contract, but if they do not, the seller has to pay back the money. It's just an agreement that you're going to sign into when you do it.
Prepayment.
What's that?
Prepayment penalty.
Yeah.
So basically, when planting trees, if the tile passes through a tree planting area, then the landowners are agreed to install solid tile. In addition to, no trees shall be planted for 50 feet on each side of the subsurface area. So if there is tile running through a particular area, trees cannot be planted within 50 feet of each side of the tile. The tree planting plans can be written by Illinois Department of Agriculture and Forestry. So basically, it's a forester that works in the state. They actually write a plan and recommend what trees you can put in the preparing plan.
Planting for nut trees.
Well, that was the type of stock that you're planting. So it was, we don't normally recommend planting from seed because it's just hard to get a successful planting. So most of ours are seedling plantings that we would plant for.
Not trans,
Yeah, they're transplants.
oh, I better say seed.
Seedlings.
Seed.
50% cost share for the trees and tree plantings is usually done by a forestry contractor. Now you can do it yourself and pay yourself, write yourself out a bill, or you can get a contractor to do it, depending on which you have the time to do it. Contracts normally last 10 to 15 years. There's a potential for replanting to prevent a flood or drought. So if there's a big flood, and you say just before the flood occurred, you plant those trees, maybe 2 weeks before the flood comes and kill all those trees off, you can go back and replant them and do assist with that financially. And then there's a potential tax break for planting and repairing those. So you just have to take all that paperwork to your tax person. This right here is an example of a repairing boat. Probably on the other side of.
Excuse me, Simon, can you speak up just a little bit?
Okay. Basically over here, along here is probably some type of creek, so they planted the trees out this way. So that's why they're like that.
Look like our area. It really good. Not quite that deep, but.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
There's a place in Burbank, I think it is, where you can purchase little trees and fish and all that, you know, what is it called? You know?
Soil and Water Conservation District?
Yes, thank you.
That's it. They share an office with me.
Oh, okay, so you can buy those trees and then, because it's like paradise.
Yeah, that's why they're able to sell them like that, because they're supposed to be for conservation.
Yes, oh, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, that tree sale's going on right now,
Yes,
too.
so-
I don't know any details about it, just that it's going on right now.
Right now,
Are
okay.
any fruit trees?
I'll leave you a phone number before I leave.
Thank you.
No. They usually have
One meeting,
some things like that.
Okay, this next program is the wetland restoration. Let's say if you got a potential wetland there and then you want to restore it, you could do this particular practice right here. This is a wetland restoration restore this particular program. So we got a wetland area, we need a lot of acres to restore for this particular practice.
What terms of wetland again?
The soil type, vegetation,
Natural vegetation.
there's normally certain types of vegetation that grow in wetland areas, so we see those type of vegetations in that particular area. We can say there's a wetland, but normally we have a soil scientist who actually comes out and makes the determination for wetlands.
It's not necessarily that the ground is saturated or underwater for extended periods of time, but it's vegetation.
Vegetation, it's I think about 5 characteristics that they look at, and I think about 3 out of the 5, if they meet 3 out of the 5 characteristics, it's considered wet.
So that's the other one, so it's not just a marshy area, it's a green ground.
Yeah. So we actually have a soil scientist who comes out and makes the determination for the city.
If you give this area up for a program, does that mean that you can't do anything with it?
After the contract is on, which you
You know, the contract time though, it's just like what, it's not really on your property?
yeah, it's just there. You can't go on
But
that.
you can go on it, you can use it for recreation or something like that, but you cannot harm a property.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not all fenced, it's still your land. You just have a temporary easement with the government. And they're going to pay you a certain rate yearly for 10 to 15 years.
Okay, and that rate is paid per acre, is that a year?
Yes.
Like $135
Per acre.
1 acre every year.
Yes.
And that number fluctuates based on the type of soil that's on that particular spot. So soils that are higher producing soils, they earn larger money because they're trying to offset the loss of potential crop that could be there.
So, I'm sorry. It's a wetland. You get it tested, it meets these 3 criteria out of 5.
Yeah.
That's the requirement. And it's 5 acres. You're basically saying for the next, no,
30 for
this is
wetland
30,
areas.
this is
Yeah.
30 years. So the next 30 years, you're not gonna use anything on it, but maybe you can have nature walk.
Oh yeah, recreation is encouraged.
You just can't plant no soybeans on it.
You just can't do anything agricultural, but you can't put cattle on it, you can't plant crops on it, you're supposed to not be earning money.
You're not earning money.
Well,
So it can't be.
ag-based. I mean, if you want to charge somebody to go for a walk, that's up to you.
You can't build a permanent structure.
Yeah.
And when I say permanent structures, usually people will build a permanent deer stand on there. Because they,
Permanent deer stand.
yeah, like, a lot of people like to hunt wetlands because it's good hunting. But you can put a temporary deer stand on there.
There you go, buddy. You see, it'll make money for you.
Call me when you get that deer though.
With the wetlands, can you offer duck hunting?
Yeah.
Yes, we
That's
can.
considered passive recreation. That's what, they don't want you having like a mud pit for four-wheelers or something like that to go tear it up, but if somebody wants to fish, hunt, things like that, that's what
If you have your farmer there and you suspect it was wetland, but original vegetation has been eliminated, how do you determine that? And then they would restore those original
What we do,
type of vegetation back to it.
they have this process, they have slides, areas for those, going back from like 1970,
Okay.
1960. So what they do is they look at these slides and they can tell the vegetation on there. So we have all the documentation. Not a bad thing,
They'll tell me.
but typically this is normally done with soil scientists. They specialize in that.
So,
ponds.
Well, you can let water in a particular area, in the wetland, you can flood it.
Oh, flooded.
That'll help bring in ducks, other wildlife.
Oh, adding more water.
Adding more water.
Lock towers, keep water from pouring out. This is an example of a water control structure. This is what Tim was talking about earlier. That basically lets water in a particular area and let water out. So, that's an example of that.
That's not that large.
No, not really.
So
No, they're only like this big.
but it lets water in and lets water out. That's that.
Yeah, you can control the level with different, I don't know, technical terms, we call them stop logs. You can stack them up. If you want to hold the water table at a foot and a half below the surface level, then you just set your stops to be that high. And then as long as there's ample flow, it'll hold that water at that level.
You can plant trees and different types of things in that wetland also. So particularly look right here on the wetland restoration, it's a 10 to 15 year contract.